Peace and love. Welcome to I Am Feminine Masculine R1. I want to thank everyone for tuning in with me at this time, wherever you are located. Welcome in, welcome in. Slow and steady is what's coming in at this time. Slowing down. Really being present, because I was tested yesterday and definitely learned a few things, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for being able to recognize these parts of myself that still need healing. And I'm all about that. And I now recognize it because we're in a time of peace. We're moving in a time of peace. And I know things may not look like that, but we need to be responsible. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Recognizing the parts that need to be healed so I can be at peace. And I noticed when I go to war with myself, meaning things that are unhealed, things that I haven't forgave, either myself in it or those that have, done things to hurt me. I had to come to realization that, there are those that are out there like that, just like the things that we don't like to see in the world, that we don't have control over, even though, we feel for these events. So I know that there's war happening at the same time as we're moving forward in this peaceful state. And I also noticed that if I don't heal those parts of me and I do go to war, it's going to be a war that fits in with the things that we don't want in the world. And that's not who I am. And so whatever these frequencies that seem to come in and out through timelines, through our lineage, through our friendships, through our relationships, through our own relationship with ourselves, there's something about that I have to put my finger on now, because it's so intense. Like, that part right there has me questioning, could it be that we all are just vibing on this? And it's just different scenarios, but it's so reckless when we lower ourselves. And what is causing this? Because it's everywhere. And so I receive through the divine, like, we need to focus in on our home. And I say that like the home within me, as well as my foundation. So it's important for us to really decide right now, are we going to be part of this war? Or are we going to be part of this peace that we really, really, really yearn for? I don't like to move around feeling unease, because I haven't forgave things, or I've put myself in a position to where I'm feeling this way, or people that I surround myself feel that way, and it rubs off. Like, we have to decide what we allow in our energy at this point, ladies and gentlemen, because I noticed like it's really out of hand out in these streets, even ourselves, when we don't have control of ourselves. And I really feel like, you know, there's more that goes on with what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of us that are doing the work have bits and pieces of this story, and it's just up to us to really put it all together so we can move forward in peace. You know, I'm not out here wanting people to follow me or anything like that. I just feel that it's time that we really bring that to the table, show and prove that we are capable of it. And those that, you know, may not feel that way, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of forgiveness to be done. There's a lot of change that needs to be done. Unconditional love. I'm feeling that in every day, around my family, around my girls, around nature, you know. And when I receive it, I get a little emotional because it's a different frequency. It's something that deserves recognition. And when you're in it, it's so beautiful. You know, so I know it's a challenging time, but change is what's needed. And that's what I mean, like doing the little things to start getting there, you know? And like I said, changing your wardrobe or changing your hair, changing what you eat, changing your environment, that gets you there on what change is. And when you do those things, it's like you feel great. You know, think about that when you make those adjustments, how positive it is and what it makes you feel like afterwards. That's what I'm talking about, feeling that peace, feeling amazing. And that pushes you so far. We all know that those that maybe just have started working out and eating healthier, it's a different feeling. And when we're not applying that, it's like, you know, it don't feel good. And so when those type of things come in, it's itself really like calling for change. And then of course you can change for the worse, and you can feel that. So now we can make decisions now on how we want to move forward. So being at peace, ladies and gentlemen, is where we need to be, if you choose so. And that we not only speak it, but we move in it, right? We move in it. You know, being the bigger person, you know, is great. You know, even though we know that we may not be the cause of certain things, but be the bigger person. You know, find that in you. Ground yourself, breathe. There's many tools out there that can get you to this stillness, to be able to want to be at peace. And it requires us to be present. And when we say do the work, I mean really facing ourselves. Did I play part in something that was destructive? And if so, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. No matter how intense the situation was, forgive yourself and set yourself free and forgive others. We need to start setting each other free from these ties that are unhealthy, that are toxic. You know, and I had to be the bigger person yesterday. I don't feel like myself and the father of my children really had that. And I really, regardless if he heard me or not, I just wanted him to know that whatever has happened, I make peace with it. Our children need us. We need to be responsible. We need to co-parent in a way where it's like, hey, yeah, things had happened, but it's done. I'm not pointing fingers. Everybody knows what position they play in a relationship. There's nothing more to say. You know, there's nothing more to prove. And so I forgive him and I forgive myself. You know, letting him know that he too has the opportunity to do that, because I left that open between me and him. And I set myself free because now I'm moving on. I'm moving on to what I deserve. You know what I mean? And I send that to him as well. And that whatever choices we make, that's on us at this point. But our children, yeah. That's very important to me, that my children have their father in their lives. And that I can support him with that. Knowing that he can be a great father. Knowing that, you know, whatever time we have left, like really, really set that example, you know. Whatever has happened, that has nothing to do with the children. Nothing. They're innocent. They're innocent. And that, can we remember when we were children, when we were in our homes that were dysfunctional, that we couldn't speak, but we were witnessing things that didn't make sense, but we ran with it because that was the thing to do. You know, and things, you know, in homes, they're not explained like this. So what can we do different? Regardless of whose fault it is, there's no right and wrong in this situation. We're moving in a time of peace. And trust me, shit could get real funky out here between people, you know, and we need to know when to let go and know that, you know what, this relationship, this situation has ran its course. That's really what it is. And those that want to hold on to it, you know, and it becomes really intense. It's like, I mean, how much are you going to hold on to something that literally has reached its course? There's something else that's waiting in the wing to open something new. And even if it is yourself, we need to get to a point where we need to get to know ourselves. You know, enjoy our time with ourselves. I know some people that know me, a lot of my family members are probably like, wow, I didn't know she was creative like that. I didn't know she can do that. Let me tell you something. That was due to me really enjoying my company and removing any distractions. Really tapping into my child-like energy. Like going back when I grew up, like the innocent times, right? What made me who I am, like, you know, built that character of, like, I don't know, like just having this love for life, you know, with its ups and downs, you know, but still, like, still feeling like, you know, that childlike energy. Like, you know, I can draw now, like, you know, I can do things that remind me of a time when I was a child. I'm not saying childish, I'm saying childlike, that feeling of being a child. So free, so vibrant, so creative. The imagination, right? I can't think that far back, but I know I was doing something with my imagination. But just the fact that I was able to bring that here to this time, to be able to do that, have that with my children, not be like, oh, I'm too grown to sit down and play games, or I'm too grown to run around and play tag or hide and go seek. Like, I love those things. Or singing with them, or drawing with them, or just teaching them, what I've learned and what worked for me. Because I don't feel like they have to learn the same thing over and over again. That's especially if we direct our children correctly and say, hey, I've done that, I have done that, and it didn't work out for me, but I tell you what did work out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by direction with our children, by being an example, by letting them know what works and what doesn't, and letting them choose for themselves, and majority of the time I feel with my children, like, they really do listen. They really do listen. They really do. And that makes me feel good to know that I'm doing something right. So when they do go off into the world amongst other children that are like-minded, they can literally, create something that maybe we all haven't seen before. What does that really look like when you really raise your children a certain way? Not just, the external parts, but the internal parts. Peace, forgiveness, unconditional love, right? Those things. Because I notice that that's like the biggest thing right now. Understanding what that is. Something so simple, but chaos? Oh my goodness, like, we could talk about that. Drama? Oh yeah, we could talk about that. Oh my God, with action, like, popping off, but peace. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. And when that happens, that means there's some things that are unhealed. There's some things that need to be checked. And I tell you, like, when we move like that, you start attracting people like that. You start attracting situations that are low vibrational, even if you're not playing part in it, because now you're embodying something that's low frequency. So you're moving around, you're wondering, why is this happening to me? What did I do, right? Well, it's your frequency. Energy attracts energy, like, what the heck? But when you start to get to a place where there's understanding, where there's peace and there's forgiveness, not because you have to, because you want to. Like, you can really get there, people. But forgiveness is so important. Forgive yourself, even if your hands are dirty, man. Forgive yourself so you can allow yourself to forgive others. Because really, though, the biggest enemy is ourselves in this. Because we should know better right now. As we teach our children to be great, we should also teach them what this part is, that yes, you can be at peace. Yes, you can forgive. You understand? Instead of filling it in like, it's drama all day. Like, this is it. Like, then that's what's going to end up occurring. So I felt like it was really important to really speak this during this time, that, it may look crazy out there. We may see ourselves and those that we love in a light that just isn't, it doesn't feel good. But it really starts with us. you know, so we can encourage others to do the same. That it is actually better on the other side of things, regardless if those want to participate or not. And really get to know ourselves, really take the time to really just get to know ourselves more. What do I like to do? You know, I'm getting to the point where it's like, oh my goodness, like, there's gotta be more, you know what I mean? There's gotta be more. You know, even with food, like, oh my God, that's another story right there. I'm not even gonna get into that. But let's start moving into it, man. I'm definitely going to get out today under this sun. Hopefully the weather doesn't change, because it was raining out here in Georgia. And the sun is out. You know, I'm seeing the birds just flying, enjoying this beautiful weather. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is I Am Feminine Masculine, R1. Peace and love.